Before we begin today's story, take a moment to subscribe if you enjoy heartfelt, emotional stories that stay with you long after the video ends. These stories aren't loud or rushed, they quietly settle into your heart. I never expected that a simple family reunion at 43 could bring about such meaningful moments. My name is Laura, and I've shared 16 wonderful years with my husband, Greg. We don't have children, but we enjoy fulfilling careers and a comfortable, happy life. Our routine had become familiar and comforting until one particular Saturday. That day, my sister-in-law, Monica, hosted a gathering to celebrate her eldest son, Jake's 23rd birthday. Jake has always been smart, charming, and mature for his age. I've always felt a special bond with him as his aunt, especially since we don't have children of our own. The evening was filled with laughter, warmth, and delicious food. Greg, as usual, relaxed with a glass of wine, and toward the end of the night, he looked a bit sleepy. Jake kindly offered to help Greg to the car, and I felt grateful for his thoughtfulness. On the short drive home, Jake and I shared a conversation about his studies and future goals. It was heartwarming to see him proud of his accomplishments and excited about the future. Back home, we carefully helped Greg settle in for the night, and I thanked Jake for his support. This evening reminded me that life is full of unexpected moments of kindness that strengthen family bonds and bring joy in the simplest ways. Sometimes the most meaningful connections aren't romantic. They're found in caring gestures, shared laughter, and thoughtful conversations. The next day, I couldn't stop thinking about Jake's kind actions. It reminded me how small gestures can make a big difference. I realized that these family moments, filled with care and thoughtfulness, often get overlooked in our busy lives. Later in the morning, Jake stopped by to check if Greg was feeling better. I appreciated his attentiveness and genuine concern. We had a light conversation about his plans for college and some new hobbies he had picked up. I could see his enthusiasm, and it made me proud to see the person he was becoming. As we talked, I reflected on how important it is to notice and cherish these little moments, helping someone without being asked, offering support when it's needed, and showing kindness without expecting anything in return. Jake's actions reminded me that family is not just about shared history, but also about how we care for each other in everyday life. By the end of the day, I felt a deep sense of gratitude, not just for Jake's thoughtfulness, but for the reminder that love, support, and kindness are what truly strengthen family bonds. These moments don't make headlines, but they quietly shape our lives in meaningful ways. That a few days after the reunion, I found myself reflecting on that evening and the moments that had quietly touched my heart. It made me realize that family isn't just about shared celebrations. It's about the little ways we support each other, often without even realizing it. Jake stopped by again, this time to help me organize some old family photos. As we went through them, we shared stories, laughter, and even a few memories I had almost forgotten. Seeing Jake's curiosity and his genuine interest in our family history reminded me of how important it is to pass down stories and lessons from one generation to the next. During our time together, Greg also joined him briefly. Though he was still recovering from the busy weekend, he smiled and appreciated the warmth of the moment. It was a simple, everyday moment, yet it carried so much meaning. I realized then that these seemingly small acts, helping, listening, sharing a story, offering support, are what truly shape the bonds we have with our loved ones. They are moments that over time leave a lasting impact. By the end of the day, I felt a renewed sense of gratitude. Gratitude for my family, for the thoughtful gestures, and for the simple ways in which love is expressed. Sometimes the most profound moments in life are the quiet ones that remind us of what really matters. That as the week went on, I kept thinking about the little moments with Jake and the rest of my family. It became clear to me that life is truly made up of these small acts of care, attention, and thoughtfulness. They often go unnoticed, but they quietly shape the happiness and strength of our family. One evening, while helping Jake with a project for his college, we paused to talk about dreams, challenges, and hopes for the future. Seeing his determination and kindness filled me with pride and reminded me that guiding and supporting one another is one of the most powerful ways we show love. Greg noticed the bond we shared, not in any romantic sense, but in the deep connection that family can have. He smiled and said how grateful he was to see such meaningful interactions, which made me appreciate the importance of nurturing these relationships even more. Looking back, I realized that the events of that weekend and the days following weren't just ordinary moments. They were reminders of what family truly means. The love, care, and thoughtfulness that we show each other, no matter how small, have the power to transform ordinary days into meaningful memories. I'm grateful for the kindness, laughter, and shared stories that brought us closer together. And I hope this story reminds all of us to cherish the people around us, appreciate their gestures, and never take these quiet, heartwarming moments for granted. That the days that followed, I kept thinking about all the meaningful interactions we had as a family. From Jake's simple acts of thoughtfulness to the shared laughter and stories that brought us closer, it reminded me that family is about more than just shared history. It's about being present, caring, and supportive for each other. I also reflected on how often we overlook these small moments, thinking they are ordinary. But in reality, these moments quietly shape who we are, strengthen our relationships, and create lasting memories. Sometimes it's a kind word, a helping hand, or just listening with patience that leaves the deepest impression. By the end of the week, I felt a renewed sense of gratitude for my husband, my nephew, and our family as a whole. I realized that life's most meaningful moments often come from these small, heartfelt gestures. They remind us that love is expressed in many ways, not just in grand gestures, but in everyday acts of kindness. This experience taught me a valuable lesson. Cherish your family, notice their efforts, and never underestimate the power of simple acts of care and thoughtfulness. These are the moments that stay with us long after the day is over. After reflecting on the past week, I realized how important it is to truly notice and appreciate the people around us. Jake's small acts of kindness reminded me that life is built on these simple, thoughtful gestures. Gestures that don't always make headlines, but leave a lasting impact on our hearts. I also recognize the importance of expressing gratitude. A simple thank you or acknowledging someone's efforts can strengthen bonds and create a sense of warmth that lasts far beyond the moment. Family life isn't just about big celebrations or milestones. It's about showing care, support, and love in everyday life. Sharing this experience with my nephew and my husband reinforced a valuable lesson. Love and kindness aren't just emotions, they are actions. By being attentive, offering help, and listening with an open heart, we create a nurturing environment where everyone feels valued and supported. As I close this chapter of the story, I carry with me a deep sense of appreciation for my family and the meaningful connections that quietly shape our lives. These moments remind me that true happiness often comes from the love and care we share with others. Sometimes the simplest gestures leave the deepest impact. Always value and appreciate your loved ones.